What's going on, y'all? My name is Trey Divorce. It's the Affinity World Morning Show, man. I hope everybody's waking up feeling good, feeling blessed, and feeling highly, highly favored, man. I'm feeling good, I'm feeling blessed, and I'm feeling highly, highly, highly favored, man. We got Dr. Umar Johnson interview. Shout out to Harley Initiated. We got Harley Initiated, Dr. Umar Johnson doing an interview on the turmoil that's going on in the black relationships, man. So let's see what they got to say, man. Let's get to it.
Most qualified to help us out on here because, man, when I turn on my computer and I look on social media or just see the conversations that's being had, it seems like it's truly a great divide between black men and women today.
True.
Especially in the space of love and relationships.
Correct.
It just seems like we don't have a ton of trust among one another. Everybody is very cynical about long-term relationships. And this is, I would call it a major crisis right now in our community.
I would agree with that.
We already know we have an economic crisis in the community. But now we see that this family and this relational crisis that we have that's rising. Which one would you say is greater right now as far as an issue or potential issue for the future of our relationships and our family?
I would say that they're related. If we look at this in its proper context, we go back and we see that the rise of the single black mother-led household doesn't begin until the 70s. Up until then, most of our homes had a mother and a father. So slavery didn't destroy the black family. We stayed married through slavery. I know my ancestors in particular, they kept the family together through slavery. So it wasn't slavery that did it. It was the economic disintegration of the black community. So after they assassinated Dr. King, the U.S. government decided upon a policy to destroy the black man's ability to fund any future civil rights efforts. So they came into the inner cities and they took out all the factory jobs, stripped the black man of his ability to earn. Remember, up until the 70s, they were not pushing go to college in order to be a success. You could live a decent life working in any of the major inner cities as a laborer. So they took that out. Then they went into the high schools and stripped the high schools of the industrial building training programs. So carpentry, auto mechanic, welding, roofing, electric, plumbing, they took all that out. Those was the skills that paid the bills.
Notice he said the U.S. government. We gotta understand that the U.S. government, we are number one enemy. Not the Taliban, not Hamas, not anybody in the Middle East. We are the U.S. government number one enemy. We gotta understand that, man.
In essence, what they did was they made the black man economically irrelevant to the black woman. I want to say that one more time. The 70s was the beginning of the process of making the black man economically irrelevant to the black woman. A man's primary responsibility is to protect and to provide. We can protect, but the providing is the issue. Now, you fast forward that 65 years until now, since Dr. King's assassination, a lot of our women don't understand the political history that brought about the economic devastation of the black male. If my woman makes more money than me, that in and of itself is not a problem. Unless she attributes the reason she makes more money than me to the fact that I'm lazy, I'm shiftless, I'm irresponsible, I'm unaccountable. It's the interpretation of the reality that's our problem. Because if my woman makes more money than me, then so be it. That shouldn't necessarily be an issue unless she feels some types of way about that, or if I feel some type of way about that, because it does go both ways. You have sisters who feel like they can emotionally abuse and emasculate brothers if they have more education and income. On the flip side, you got brothers who cannot accept a relationship where the woman out earns and out educates him. So it can go both ways. But that economic piece is major because we're the only men in America who are out earned by our women. We're the only ones. And it's by design. Now, when you come to YouTube and you see the back and forth banter between the men and the women, a lot of that is due to poor political education and understanding of the reality. But another part of it is trauma. See, we got to understand when we get emotional, we're dealing.
And before he even gets to the trauma, I got to go to the scriptures because what he said about economics, how some women will talk down on men. You feel me? If they feel like if they feel like they making more money than they man, and vice versa, right? So First Corinthians 11:3. But I would have you know that the head of every man is Christ, and the head of and the head of the woman is the man, and the head of Christ is God. It don't say the woman is man unless the woman makes more money than a man. It just says the head of every woman is man. There's no stipulations in the scriptures when it comes to the order and things. So why are we changing the order of things if you feel like you're making more money than the person or you got a better job than the person? Let's stick to the order the way the Most High God wanted to be, and let's do it and work together and become a stronger, better community. And let's get this selfishness out of our community and this hate out of our community.
Dealing with our unconscious pains and memories. Nobody's in the present moment when you get emotional. The minute you are overrun by your emotions, that's your trauma talking. And one of the reasons black male female relationships are so dysfunctional is you got traumatic man trying to relate to traumatic woman. Neither one of them is dealing with the person across the table because they're both reacting from past hurt, which is why I believe that when you get out of one relationship before you go into another one, you need a period of healing, because if in fact you were in love, it's going to take you a while to heal your soul back, because love is the process of two becoming one. So if that was really love before you move on, you got to take a break and heal. The problem, gentlemen, is we don't like to take the break and heal. And the reason why black men and black women don't like to take the break to heal is when you are in solitude. And this is why spirituality functions on a foundation of solitude. When you are alone, your soul forces to the surface issues in your life that you need to address that you don't feel like addressing. So the reason I'm rushing out to get another woman isn't because I'm ready to build another relationship. It's because when I'm home alone, I deal with my abandonment of my mother. I deal with my sexual abuse of my uncle. I deal with the emotional emasculation I suffered from my mother. I'm dealing with the bullying from my siblings. You see that?
Yeah.
So how do you escape your internal demons? You run out and you date. And so in the black community, dating and mating has become the newest drug. It's how we escape from taking responsibility for our emotional health.
Wow. Dr. Umar Johnson took it there. That was crazy. That was deep. That was deep. But when he talked about solitude, I'm going through solitude right now. I'm going through that right now. I'm alone every day, 24/7. You feel me? But what it does, it makes you figure out everything that's all the problems that's going on in your life, everything that's holding you back. When you alone, it makes you figure out everything. It makes you figure it out. It makes you come up with solutions. It makes you come up with everything you need to come up with. And it helps you get stronger with the Most High God, because at that point, it's just you and the Most High God, nobody else. Nobody else. So I like that he said solitude, it's a foundation of spirituality, because when you by yourself and you got to sit there and think about all the problems you got and all the problems that you got because of you, and you gotta figure it out, and there ain't no more pushing it back. You gotta figure it out, man. I feel like everybody needs that time period of alone in solitude to just figure things out, because when you alone, you figure out what you need to do, what you want to do, how you need to do it, what you need to do it, what's your first move to do it. You figure everything out. You figure everything out, man. So that's the time that the Most High God is working on you. So don't let that time of solitude and alone make you depressed, and make that depression spirit hold on to you and lean on you. You feel me? Don't let that time make you sad. Make that time to where you figure things out. Yeah, make that time to where you figure things out and you get closer to the Most High God.
Wow. Damn. Dating is the new drug.
I mean, that makes
Yeah.
perfect sense.
It
Dating
does.
absolutely
Dating
has
is the
become
new
a drug,
drug.
and we talked about that a bit with us not wanting to deal with our baggage. So you covered a spectrum of issues that we having right now that got us here. You talked about how pretty much the government has played a hand in our circumstance. Our trauma has played a hand in our circumstance.
Absolutely.
And those two together, has created pretty much what we see today.
Correct.
When we're looking at the banter coming that's happening between men and women
Yes.
today, this is the outcome of that. My issue is, do you see us preparing for the resolve? Do we have things in place right now for us to have realistic solution?
I don't think so. And the reason why I don't believe we are there yet, if I look at it from a therapeutic standpoint, in order for me to get to a place of resolve, to a place of solution, I have to be willing to empathically hear the other side out. We don't hear the other side. We talk to each other, but we do not listen. It's yelling. The women are yelling at the brothers. The brothers are yelling at the women. I have yet to hear a serious conversation on YouTube that involved reflective listening. So, sister, based on what you're telling me, you hurt because you have had man after man come into your life, use you for your physical assets, and fail to invest in you as a woman. Am I hearing you? Yes, you're hearing me. How can we do better as men to not disappoint our women? Because see, here's the situation. As we know, the woman is the first teacher of the child. So that scorn, unconsciously, she's not doing it on purpose, but the scorn is being passed down to the daughter. You see that? So the daughter is being raised with this animosity towards black men before she's even old enough to date or understand what it is. So if we as men want to improve the relationship opportunities for our grandchildren's grandchildren, we have to be much more careful with the hearts of our women, because whatever pain we put in her, she's going to transmit psychosocially to her daughter without even being conscious of it. So we're not just dealing with the failure of black on black love right now. We're dealing with the failure of black on black love for the rest of this century.
So you talked about earlier the rise of single motherhood in our community. It, if anything, turned our community into a matriarch at that point in time.
True.
Are we still there in 2024?
The matriarchy isn't in and of itself a problem, because not all African societies are patriarchal. You have matriarchal African societies. The issue is when the woman feels that because she's had to bear the brunt of responsibility for raising the children and paying the bills, that the man should have no voice. So matriarchy by itself is not a problem.
You see that a whole lot these days. A whole lot these days.
Patriarchy alone is not a problem. It's only when we take this matriarchy, patriarchy, and marry it to a European narrative that says because
The
I'm
enemy.
the breadwinner in this home, I don't have to listen to the other person. We devalue the role of the man and we devalue the role of the woman based on European values. Because guess what? How much you earn has nothing to do with what you can contribute to the system and to these children. So,
woo! I said this a bunch of times. As soon as we get away from the European traditions, values, and every single way how they live, we'll start to heal and be better off as a community. As soon as we get away, that means how the way Europeans look at love, the way Europeans look at marriage, the way Europeans look at money, the way Europeans look at family. As soon as we get away from the enemy's thinking and try to be like the enemy and go towards the Most High God and how He wants us to live, as soon as we do that, we'll be better off as a people. Our love lives will be better. Our relationships will be better. We'll have better understanding with each other. We'll have a better understanding of who the enemy is. But as long as we continue to go along with these European traditions and values and the ways they live, we will continue to suffer. And we see the results. We see the results. We'll continuously to suffer.
So all of us have been influenced negatively by the white man's power structure to the point where even in our house, he's still operating at a distance through the way that we think. Take economics.
Willie Lynch
Money
letter.
and sex. Those two variables play too big of a role in our relationships. Sex is important, money is important, but they should not be the be all and end all of whether or not the relationship is going to make sense. And if money and sex are dominating the relationship is being ran on a superficial structure because money runs out. How you perform in bed, that will dim over time too. So we cannot be coming together for money and sex, because if that's the case, this really isn't a relationship, it's a pleasure contract. And a lot of us in the community have pleasure contracts we call relationships. And the difference between a pleasure contract and a relationship is a relationship requires obligation and accountability. See, when you have a pleasure contract, I sex my queen when I sex her. We go to the movies when we want to go to the movies. We go to the Bahamas when we want to go to the Bahamas. We go to the festival when we want to go to. It's all pleasure based. I see you when you want to see me. You see me when you want to see me. Relationship, I'm accountable to you whether we having fun or not. Relationship, your long-term best interest as a human being is part of my responsibility. A lot of people are calling pleasure contracts and situationships, which is when neither one of you really know what the hell this is. We're calling them relationships and they're not. So number one, we got to be honest about what the particular structure is. Is this situationship? We just trying to figure it out. Is this a pleasure contract? We just having fun in and out of the bed when we feel like it? Or is this a relationship where you're going to be accountable to me even when you are angry and upset and don't want to be bothered? What exactly is this? Because there's a big difference. And unfortunately, because we don't communicate with the women in our lives as men, once they...
Before he even get into that, you feel me? Are you gonna love me? Are you gonna still love me if we can't go out every weekend? Are you gonna still love me if I can't take you on a date this weekend because I gotta save money for a business I'm trying to work on? Are you gonna talk down on me because I ain't got enough money to take you somewhere because I'm trying to save up for a new house? Are you gonna stop talking to me and ignore me? You feel me? When we going through something. Are you gonna stop loving me because we going through something? Are you just gonna move on? Are we in this together or are we not? Are we just fucking or not? Are we just fucking? You feel me? We go on a couple of dates here and there. And that's cool. That's cool. I could do that all day. I'm not talking personally to me, but I'm just saying I could do that all day. You wanna fuck? We go on a couple of dates. Cool. Or are you really with me and you trying to build a legacy and really love me and I really love you and let's build this legacy for the kids and for their kids' kids and their kids' kids and their kids' kids? Because you know what that requires? That requires sacrifice. Are you gonna love me through the sacrifices we gotta do for our future generations? Or is it like Dr. Umar Johnson, a sex contract, a pleasure contract? Y'all just with niggas, or y'all just with women for the pleasure of it, just going out and fucking? Or is niggas really out here trying to build legacies out here? Cause now personally, I'm talking about me personally. I'm trying to build a legacy out here. And I'm letting y'all know right now, if there's any woman out there thinking about being with me, I'm gonna require some sacrifice. Cause I want my kids to live good. I want my kids to look back and say, yo, great grandpa Trey, yeah, that nigga really did that. That nigga really did that. That's what I'm living for. So what we doing here? Is it love or is it a pleasure contract, man? Is it really a relationship or are we just pleasuring each other? I have sex with you, and that's my pleasure. And then you go, I take you out on dates. That's your pleasure, and it just ends like that. That's where it ends. It gets no deeper than that. What we doing?
They open their legs, they tend to assume that there's some sort of a relationship here, no matter how minuscule. We never clarify that. And the reason we never clarify that is in our selfishness as men, we like to have our cake and eat it too. So we know she's developing a bond. You understand? But we're never going to clarify the bond because I want to be able to dip out the back door the minute she puts too much responsibility on me. Where had if you told her up front, this is just a pleasure contract, an arrangement, she could have probably done a better job of keeping her feelings to herself. But because we don't want to see her with nobody else, we would rather run the risk of hurting her spiritually and emotionally than let her go free to find what she really needs.
That goes for both men
plays a
and
big
women.
role in this.
That goes for both
Now, let
men
me
and
ask you
women.
this, because you mentioned about money and sex. What should be at the root of a healthy relationship?
For me, the foundation of a healthy relationship, first of all, let's deal with the 4 essentials. In order for the relationship to work at all, you got to have humility. A lot of times we don't have humility. If the relationship is based on ego, it's not a relationship. You see that? Ego means you hear me, but I don't have to hear you. That's not a relationship. That's a master-slave relationship. When you have one person who has all the power and the other person who does not. And to that point,
You see that a lot these days.
Toxic situation we see in our community too,
A whole
where the
lot.
woman is the slave master and the man is the slave, or the man is the slave master and the woman is the slave. And you've seen these relationships where one person makes all the decisions and have all the power, and the other person needs to remain silent unless spoken to. You see, which goes down another road of where you should not be dating if you have low self-esteem, because people with low self-esteem will always be taken advantage of in the dating arena. And too many men and women are out there looking for their ideal mate, but you don't have the ideal self-esteem in order to engage the type of mate that you want. So if I speak to a young sister, what type of man you want? I speak to a young brother, what type of queen you want? They describe them. Is your self-esteem at a level that this type of person would want you?
Ooh.
Because you can't hide how you feel about yourself. Once you've been around a queen for a couple weeks, she know how you feel about yourself, just like you know how she feel about herself when you've been around her for a couple weeks. So the role of self-esteem is critical because, as you know, a player, a brother who knows how to game women, he can read their level of self-esteem
quickly.
He knows exactly what her thirsty meter is hitting at. You see? And a woman knows exactly what his thirsty meter is hitting at.
Absolutely.
But getting back to those 4 essentials, you need humility. I got to be humble enough.
Also, one thing I want to say about low self-esteem is you got to be careful when you're dealing with somebody with low self-esteem, because that low self-esteem spirit could definitely get on you, weigh on you. It'll definitely affect you mentally, spiritually, physically, and emotionally. You feel me? So you got to be careful when you do deal with somebody with low self-esteem, because that spirit of low self-esteem could definitely hop on to you too. You feel me? And you trying to, and you was once a person, and when you first get into a relationship with the person, you was once a person with super high self-esteem. You feel me? Believed in yourself, believed in everything you could do, believed in all your dreams, and whatever you want to get to, you felt like you can get to. You feel me? And then you deal with somebody that has low self-esteem, right? And you continuously deal with them. You continuously trying to bring them up, help them up, make them happy, help them be happy. You feel me? Your whole time in the relationship, you trying to help them be happy, try to get they self-esteem up. You feel me? But it's always a battle. It's always a battle, and pretty soon that battle starts to weigh on you, and then pretty soon you start to get low self-esteem. Pretty soon that spirit jumps onto you. And pretty soon you figure you start struggling and you start feeling depressed and everything like that, right? So you gotta be careful when you deal with somebody with low self-esteem.
Enough to be quiet when she's wrong, to hear her out. I got to be humble enough to remain quiet while she's expressing her points about me. Everything she just said may be wrong. She may have accused me of cheating. She may have accused me of all kinds of things. But guess what? This is her truth in this moment. Let me shut the fuck up Let her say what she need to say. When she's done, reflective listening. Baby, you believe the reason I came home at 1 o'clock last night because I was over my baby mom's. Is that how you feel? Do you believe that? Okay, let me try to prove it. You see? Let me try to prove to you that I was not there. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The problem with us, because most of us was raised by women, we get a little bitchy. You see that? So when our queen get bitchy, we want to get bitchy right back. That's not the behavior of a man. That's not masculine. Masculinity says she's in her pain. And because she's in her pain, I'm going to validate her even if she's incorrect, because I don't ever want her to feel that I don't understand where she's coming from. We get right into defense mode, raised by single black mothers. We want to give her back the same energy she's giving us. That's a gridlock. We don't move nowhere. You got to have humility. The next thing you got to have is you got to have communication.
You definitely gotta have humility. That's something I worked on. You feel me? I wasn't raised by a single mother, but I was raised on don't tolerate no disrespect. You feel me? So if I feel like I'm disrespected, if I feel like I'm just being disrespected as a man, I'm definitely gonna say something. So I wasn't raised by a single mother, but my pops always taught me never tolerate no disrespect. You feel me? But on the other hand, I do want to say that there is no compassion. There's no compassion. There's no patience. There's no compassion. There's no patience. There's no love between black men and black women. I feel like patience definitely comes. It's definitely a key in those type of situations, because I definitely been in those type of situations, and then I've been on both ends. I've been on the end where I was like, bitch, who the fuck you talking to? I don't care all that shit you saying right now. I don't give a. You feel me? I've been that nigga, but I also been a nigga like, okay, like Dr. Umar. Okay, I hear you. I receive everything. Oh, you said this. You said that. You said this. You feel me? And I've definitely seen the different outcomes that come. I definitely seen the different outcomes that comes from both situations. You feel me? One situation when I was like cussing her out. You feel me? Or cussing whoever out. It was always like what Dr. Umar Johnson said. It becomes a gridlock. But on the other hand, when I was patient and understanding and listening, like, okay, you said this, okay, I understand. Okay, this is what happened to you. This is what you've been through. Okay, applies to this situation. Okay, I understand. You feel me? I understand. Let's talk this out. Let's work it out. You feel me? I got a completely different outcome. So I definitely get what Dr. Umar Johnson is saying, but I'm still, work in progress. The Most High God is still working on me. Cause I ain't gonna lie. Black women know what to say. You feel me? They know what's gonna sting, and they say it with the right amount of disrespect. You feel me? Black women gonna say it with the right amount of disrespect, and it's gonna sting. You feel me? You gonna like some shit. Black women say like, "Oh my gosh, bitch, if you don't." Nah, but for real though, I'm a work in progress.
One of the biggest mistakes we have in our relationships in the black community, we want our partners to read our minds. If you're in a relationship with a woman who needs you to read her mind, that is an emotionally immature woman, and you need to end it.
Leave.
A woman should be able to tell
Brother,
a man what she wants and how she feels. And a man should be able to tell a woman what he wants and how he feels, because it goes both ways. Whenever you're in a relationship and somebody expects you to read their mind, as I've often said to sisters, I'm a psychologist, not a psychic. You understand? I observe and evaluate. I can't read. You see? So tell me how you feel. The reason why a lot of sisters would rather us feel them out than communicate to us how they feel is they're afraid of rejection. They don't want to verbalize it because they're afraid it may get rejected. So they would rather you read the mind so they don't have to garner the audacity to tell you exactly how they're feeling. In other words, you need to make a decision whether or not you're going to marry me. We've been in this relationship for 3 years. You see that?
Yeah.
She wants to say it. She ain't got the courage because she's afraid of what your response is. So she's been pouting around the house, acting up like, what's wrong with her? She want to know where this relationship is going, but she's not going to say it because you ain't giving her the confidence to say that. You see? So we have to make sure that when we are dating people, we're dating people who mirror our psychological age. Because all of us have a biological age. We also have a psychological age. So let's say you're 45 years old biologically. Your queen is 45 years old biologically, but she's been traumatized, raped, abused, abandoned by her father, emotionally scarred by her mother. Although she's 45 biologically, psychologically, she could be 12. Psychologically, you could be 6. And a big reason why a lot of our relationships don't work out is you got two people who are around the same biological age, but psychologically they're at 2 different levels. You see this, you're like, damn, why she acting like a child? Why he acting like a child? Because guess what? They are not psychologically where you are. And here's a big problem we have. We think we've met our match when we get into a relationship where we never argue and there's no type of conflict or disagreement. That's a trap. You know why that's a trap? Everybody has a pain body. You got one, I got one, they got one. What is a pain body? That is an energy that you carry within your soul. It's a deep part of your unconscious that contains the memory of every negative experience you ever had in your life. From the time you got bullied, from your father spanking you in front of your friends, your girlfriend cheating on you, everything you went through negative is in this pain body, right? You have one. Everybody got one. If you've never seen it activated in your queen to be, it ain't time to get married yet, because you have to determine whether or not you can live with her pain body when it gets activated. See, this is where we date for 5 years and everything been great. We moved in for 1 month. Now we getting a divorce. You know why? Because it's easy to date when y'all don't have to share the same space. It's easy to date when y'all don't have to share the same space. Now y'all sharing the same space, and all that she kept hidden in her, or all that you kept hidden in you, now it's going to come out. And do you want to know why? The ego doesn't like to lie. Your ego never wants. When she says, "Are you cheating on me?" You say no. If you are, your ego want to say, "Fuck yeah, I'm cheating." And I'm going. Do you see? You see?
Oh,
the ego doesn't like to lie. You see?
Right.
So once you're forced, 3 things normally force
That
the
wasn't funny,
ego
but that was funny.
to tear the mask off. Because when we dating each other, we're basically dating the ideal self we're projecting before the other person. We're not dating who we really are. When you meet somebody, you never tell them, "I'm an alcoholic. I have trouble showing up for work at time. I had 10 jobs in the past year. My father left me. I grew up in a brothel with my mother who was a prostitute." You're not telling her none of that. She has to figure out all your flaws on her own, just like you have to figure out all her flaws on your own. You see that? And so that's why we don't trust each other when we begin dating, because we both know we got a pain body. We both know we got baggage, and neither person wants to be transparent about what their issues are from the beginning.
Damn.
See, we force the other person to learn them on their own. So nobody trusts nobody, because I know you got shit in your closet and you ain't giving me none of it. And because I got to study you, and I don't know how long I'm gonna have to study you, I'm going to try to hold my feelings back as much as I can. And for that very same reason, we like to keep something on the side too. Because if this don't work out, I need something else to fall out on. Well, guess what? If you got something on the side, there's no way you can be fully committed to this. Now, let me tie trauma back into this. How can you fully love if you're too afraid to get hurt?
Right.
And if you can't fully love because you're too afraid to get hurt, you have no business dating in the first place. Because what you might mistake for love is nothing more than a psychologically unhealthy attachment or addiction for someone else's presence in your life to validate you. Right now, we got an epidemic of Black men killing their women. That wasn't love. You couldn't kill somebody you loved. You know what was going on? He was addicted to her presence in his life. His illness cannot exist without her presence in his life. And because he can no longer have her presence in his life, he's going to take her life. That's not love. That's
Oh my
psychopathology and
gosh.
addiction.
Wow.
And you have a lot of traumatized Black people running around thinking they're in love with people. You're not in love. You are simply addicted to their presence in your life. They serve a purpose for you. That's it. It's not love. And if you don't really understand what love is, oftentimes clinginess, attachment, thirstiness, and addiction is called love, and it's not. Love don't hurt. If it hurts, it has to be trauma.
Take us into love though, because because I do agree with you. A lot of people are confused about what love is.
Right.
So how would
So trauma is the key, is the main reason why black men and black women are not getting along. Trauma is the main reason why there's so much turmoil that's going on in our black relationships. Trauma, trauma, trauma. A lot of us, shoot, pretty much all of us is walking around here with untreated trauma, passing our traumas back and forth to each other. I don't know, love, like you can't love somebody and still hurt I really don't understand what he meant by that. The last statement, he probably gonna go over that. We almost done with it, but we definitely got to we got to figure out some way to figure out how us as a community to get over our traumas. And also, again, we gotta be patient with one another, because we gotta understand that a lot of us is coming with trauma. A lot of us is coming with trauma. So can you be patient with me? Can you be patient with me and understanding with me until I figure out and get over this trauma? Because a lot of us do got trauma. So can you be patient with me? Can you be understanding with me? Can you like at least help me through my trauma? If I need some Bible scriptures or something, can you throw me some Bible scriptures or something? I don't know, a little something here and there, you feel me? But just know that all of us got trauma walking around here. Just know that your partner right now, she or he got some trauma. You feel me? And that's probably why they going through it. And they probably trying to make your life a living hell and try to make you go through it. So now you understand, my partner may got some trauma. Let me be patient and understanding. Let me sit down and talk to my partner. And let's figure this shit out. Let's figure it
How would you define love?
When you truly love somebody, truly, here's the thing about love. Love is unconditional. That's the first thing I want to say.
Is it really?
Love is unconditional. If it's conditions on it, it ain't love. It's a contract. And that's
It's
okay.
a contract.
If both of you agree on those terms. She may agree. We have a pleasure contract. We got an economic contract where you go. Gonna take care of me, and as long as you take care of me, I'm gonna be your woman. The Puff Daddy arrangement. You feel me? That works for some people. No, you have women like that. You have men like that.
Right.
I'm gonna floss you up, and as long as I floss you up, you're gonna be loyal to me. But that's a contract. That's not love. Contracts are different from love. Why? Contracts are conditional.
Right.
Love is unconditional. If I love my queen, what if she comes home one day and say, hey, baby, I don't want to work this. I don't want to be a lawyer no more. But if I only married her because I like the way her law degree looks on Dr. Umar in public, you see how this goes. She's changing. But if I love her, okay, baby, that's what you don't want to do. You want to go into something else? Let's do it. Love is, when you love somebody, you are 100% unapologetically and unconditionally committed to that person's best interest, even if it is to your loss. What if your fiance come home and say, listen, babe, I had a long conversation with my ex-husband. I never thought I would look at this again, but we left a lot on the table together. I enjoyed the time we had. I think that man might still be my soulmate. I got to move on. I might still hurt because I loved her, right? But if that love is true, if you feel that's who you meant to spend the rest of your life with, I gotta love you and want the best for you. Most of us cannot do that. What we call love is limited to your investment in me. You see that?
Yeah.
Anytime they step outside of the box we created for them, we get angry because that was not love. You had conditions on it. Your woman gained 20 pounds. Now you're going to divorce her. You say, if you gain another 20 pounds, this marriage is over. That was not love. That was a contract because it had conditions. If I love that woman unconditionally, whether she gained 20, 30, 40, 50 pounds, I'm not going nowhere. Yeah, we might need to have a conversation about
Dr.
health
Speak.
because I want you around for our children to get married. You understand?
Right.
But there's no such thing as ending a relationship because you stepped outside of my perfect box if you loved her. Love is unconditional. And most of what we got in the Black community are contracts disguised as loving relationships.
Woo! We gonna finish. I'm gonna end it right there. I'm gonna do another video. We're gonna continue doing this video, but I'm gonna end it right here, man. Love is definitely unconditional. If you definitely got a contract, you definitely got a condition on my love, on the love we got, you feel me? Do you really love me? Did you ever really love me, my nigga? You feel me? If love goes off, how many dates I take you on, if love goes off, how many times we go out of town, or how many times we go out of the country, or anything like that, if that's what my love is based off on, then do you really love me? Do you really love me? Y'all see those homeless couples? That's unconditional love. You feel me? That's unconditional love. Y'all see those homeless couples with their little dog? I need that love. I need that type of love. You gonna ride with me? Are you gonna even love me if I'm even homeless? If it got that bad, are you still gonna love me? Even though I'll never let it get that bad. But if it did get that bad, are you still gonna love me, man? Shout out to Dr. Umar Johnson. Shout out to Harley Initiated, man. Shout out to everybody that's listening. Please like, please share, and please subscribe. I hope I didn't pause the video too much. I try to let Dr. Umar, cook. You feel me? I try to let him cook. You feel me? But shout out to everybody, man. I'll see y'all later. Peace. Do do do. Do do do.